Okay, I think we can get started. Welcome everyone to this webinar on no-code AI and machine learning, building data science solutions. And before I start, here are some guidelines that we will follow in the webinar today. That all of you are on listen-only mode, and you can't speak. But again, at the same time, we want the session to be as interactive as possible. So please ask your questions. And the way to ask your question is there are two input boxes. One is a chat box and another one is a Q&A box. So whenever you have any thoughts or any comments, please put your thoughts and comments on the chat box. And whenever you have any questions, please put your questions in the Q&A box so that I can differentiate which one is question and which one is not a question. And I'll be taking your questions from the Q&A box only. And this session is also getting recorded. And once the session is over, then the recording will be shared with you over email. And also at the end of this webinar, a feedback survey will be shared. I request all of you to please share your experience with us so that we can improve this webinar further in future. So with this guidelines in mind, let me take you through a very brief introduction about myself. My name is Bhaskarjit Sharma, and I've been working as a director at BlackRock, where I build AI ML products and solutions to predict financial markets, especially equities and income, fixed income markets. And since last 1.5 years now, I'm also building different generative AI based application to generate trading signal. But I also have experience in other domain also like retail, FMCG, airlines, and so on. And I've been teaching and mentoring as well. Teaching is one of my passion, and I've been teaching at Great Learning for more than 5 years now. So what is in the agenda today? So the agenda is we will take you through the introduction to no-code AI and machine learning domain. And then mainly we will focus on this topic of getting started with AI for NLP, a no-code approach. And then we will have an interactive Q&A round. Then I will share my mentorship experience at Great Learning. And then I will hand it over to my colleague Sudhanshu, and he will take you through the overview of this entire program, that is no-code AI and machine learning, building data science solutions. So here, before I talk about NLP or AI in NLP, let me talk about the hottest topic right now, which is generative AI. So now you see, this entire field of NLP, which stands for natural language processing, it has revolutionized because of one invention that happened in 2017, which is known as transformer. Okay? So transformer is a neural network which is used to capture the temporal dependency that exists within language data or text data. Now, what is the meaning of language data or text data? For example, let's imagine if I, write a sentence, something like, I want to, for example, have a cup of fill in the blank. And then I ask you, okay, in this fill in the blank, I have two options for you to choose. And which word you will choose here? Let's say the first option I give you is water, and the second option I will give you as coffee. And I think most of you will agree with me that most of you will use the word coffee or choose the word coffee, but not water, right? And why? Because if you think about this, you see that if you think about this, this is some kind of an event which is happening at timestamp t, and this is some kind of an event which is happening at timestamp t minus 1. This is some kind of an event which is happening at timestamp t minus 2. So there exists a dependency between the words at a timestamp t and at a timestamp t minus 2. And this dependency between the words over a period of time, I mean, you see the word cup and coffee, they go together, right? whereas the word cup and water, they don't go together. So this dependency is known as temporal dependency, and this dependency is a property of language data. And in this transformer architecture or the transformer neural network, which was first introduced back in 2017 by Ashish Vaswani and his team in 2017, this algorithm is capable of capturing this temporal dependency that exists within language data. And that's the meaning of language model. So I'm sure you heard about ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is a type of large language model. Now, if I forget about the word large, now what is the meaning of language model? This is the meaning of language model. The meaning of language model is that I want to predict the next word using the previous word. That is the meaning of language model. And this language model is possible because of transformer. Well, not only because of transformer, because before transformers also, there were many algorithms exist like recurrent neural network or long short-term memory network, etc. Again, don't worry if you don't understand what they mean right now, because this is exactly what you'll be learning once you enroll in this course. But what I'm saying is that language model means predicting next word using the previous word. We can also do this using this algorithm. But then what is the benefit of using transformer over this algorithm? The benefit is that although we can use or we can train a language model using RNN or LSTM, but they are not useful when you want to train a large language model. Now, what is the meaning of large language model? I mean, why ChatGPT is a large language model and not, why don't we call it as a small language model, or why don't we call it as medium language model? We call it as large language model because of three, concepts. The one is the large amount of data that it has been trained on. That is the entire internet. These models like ChatGPT, they have been trained on entire internet, which is huge. Then the second reason why we call these models as large is because they have large number of parameters. For example, billions of parameters, even trillions of parameters. For example, Gemini is one of the large language model by Google, having 1 trillion parameter or 2 trillion parameters. And again, don't worry if you don't understand what is the meaning of parameter. Parameter, you can imagine like it is that mathematical quantity which captures the intelligence. I mean, we call this language model as a part of artificial intelligence, right? So this intelligence is actually captured within those parameters. And then the third reason why we call this language models as large is because the number of compute we need. For example, we need a lot of GPUs to train these models. For example, if I talk about GPT 3.5, if you have to train GPT 3.5 on one single GPU, then it will take 256 years of training time. So that is a kind of compute power you need when in order to train this language model. So now this is what is known as AI in NLP. So NLP, AI in NLP is what is being, people are nowadays call AI in NLP as Gen AI or generative AI, where we try to build large language model. And the meaning of large language model is we are trying to predict the next word given the previous words. And we call these large language models because as large because of these three reasons. But now the question is, how many such language models exist? If you want to know more details about, how many language models exist. So let me share this article with you. This is a website called Information is Beautiful. And here, if you scroll down, they have recently released an article related to the list of language models that are out there. So if you see here, um, the major large language models. So here, again, this is not an exhaustive list of large language models. There are many such language models still exist, which is not part of this list as of now. For example, if you see Anthropic is a subsidiary of Amazon. Anthropic builds this Claude family of models. Okay, the recent one being Claude 3.7. But if you see this Claude 3 Opus, And if you see parameters, how many parameters do you see? You see 2000 billion parameters. That means it has 2 trillion parameters. So it's a huge model. That is one of the reasons why we call it as large language model. Then if you click on Chinese, then these are the Chinese model. I think everybody knows about DeepSeek, which took the world by storm, in the end of January, because they have found new ways to train these language models within a much small amount of resources. Well, DeepSeek is not only known as large language model. DeepSeek is also known as large reasoning model, because, as I said, language models are trained to predict next word, whereas the reasoning models are trained to think or to reason, to generate thought processes, not only to predict the next word. Then, if you click on Google, you'll see language models by Google, like the Gemini family of model. Then before Gemini, we had the Palm family of model. Then before Palm, we had the Bird family of model, and so on. Then similarly, you see on the Meta, so you have the Llama family of model by Meta. Then the Microsoft generally they don't build a very large language model. They are building this Phi family of model. We can call them as small, because if you see its number of parameters, it has only 3 billion parameters, or 14 billion parameters, which is still on a smaller side compared to the number of parameters Gemini has, which is in trillion number of parameters. So Microsoft language models are mostly smaller. Then you have the Mistral family of models, which are again open source. Then you have OpenAI, which everybody knows, like the GPT family of models. And then here you have the other family of models, which is, for example, in others, you can see the Nemotron by NVIDIA, then Grok by X, then Granite by IBM, then Bloomberg GPT by Bloomberg, and so on. Okay, so so here there are so many language models exist for your consumption, and you can use this use these models to build application on top of it. Now the question is, what kind of application you can build? I mean, what this Gen AI can do for you, and what this Gen AI cannot do for you. So for that as well, let me share one blog post by McKinsey. So McKinsey came up with this article called "The Economic Potential of Generative AI: The Next Productivity Frontier." So if you scroll down, here you will see a chart which I want to show you. So if you see this chart, so here you see the impact of generative AI in terms of billions of dollars on y-axis, and on x-axis you see impact as a percentage of functional spend. And here, if you see in which particular area Gen AI has been making a lot of impact. If you see on the in the top right corner, software engineering, for both for IT as well as product development and answering customer questions or customer operations. These are the areas where Gen AI is making the most impact. But apart from this, these areas also, for example, if you see the sales and marketing and also product R&D, they're also, I mean, together, if you see this upper half of this, chart, here, Gen AI is making 75% of total annual impact. And in this area, Gen AI is started to making, impact, but not as much as in this area. But again, as you can see, this area is evolving so fast. Every week, there is something new. Every week, there is some new language models comes up. Every week, some new prompting techniques comes up. I'm very optimistic that this in this area also, Gen AI will start making a lot of impact very soon. So if you want to know more about these use cases, what I can share with you, I can share this link with you, and you can go through on your own. So for example, within customer operations, what are the different use cases that Gen AI can solve? So here you can see those use cases in customer operations. Then here you can see some of the use cases for marketing and sales. Then here you can see some of the use cases related to software engineering and so on. And I recommend you to go through this blog post to get more details. Let me share this link. I'm sharing this link in the Teams chat. And also, let me also share one more resource which I think will be helpful for your learning journey. So what I do is I share, I mean, as I just now told you, that this area is evolving so fast. Every week, there is something new. It's very difficult to keep yourself, up to date on what's going on, in this particular area. So one of the best way to, keep yourself up to date is reading, survey paper. And once we enroll in this course, we will share a lot of those, survey papers as well. Because when you go through these survey papers, you find out all the information in one single place so that you don't have to look for any other resources. And another thing which I regularly share is something called visual machine learning. So these kind of concepts which are very technical in nature, it becomes very easy when you try to understand these concepts visually. So let me share this with you as well. For example, here on my social media, I share these resources on visual machine learning. So far, I have shared 105 such resources. The latest one being called Reason Graph. So as I told you, right, the models like DeepSeek, what they can do, they can think like human beings can think. So how this is working under the hood, if you go through this article, you'll see and you will be able to understand, visually. And if you also go through, this resource like keeping up with large language models, so this is part seven. Part seven talks about agentic AI, which I'll talk about briefly as well. What is the meaning of agentic AI for no code, as a no code tool? So here you'll find out all the survey, papers, and it will be useful for your learning journey. Let me share this with you as well. Okay, so now uh, okay, so where is the link? Um, yeah, by mistake, I shared in another chat. I have shared the link right now in the chat, both the link for everybody. Okay, so now here, I think, from here you can find a lot of different use cases. And now let me share with you some agentic AI, solution, which can be, useful as a no-code tool. And we'll learn a lot of different, tool in this course as well later on. So here, for example, this is another company and European-based company. So what they're doing, they're building this generative AI solution for regulated industries. Regulated industry means, for example, finance, or for example, healthcare, or for example, government use cases. Because in those industries, it is very highly regulated because you're taking very highly risky decision in finance or in healthcare or in government use cases. So in those use cases, you are not only looking for the output of the model, but you're also looking for what is the trustworthiness of this particular output. How, I mean, basically, when to trust and when not to trust the model output. So they have built a language model called Colosseum, and I recommend you to again go through this Colosseum model. And in most of these finance and related use cases, they have outperformed the state of the art language models like Mistral or GPT and so on. But there they also have a no code AI tool called Crystal. For example, this is a AI agent agentic AI workflow, and using this to no code. This is a no code tool. You don't have to write any code, and here you can build your own AI agent as well using their model, which is the Colosseum model, which is specifically trained for regulated industry. And here, you can ask any kind of question. For example, here you can also upload any file for analysis, or you can also do web search. You can also run your code, or you can also build your own AI agent. And for example, here I asked this question: what are the benefits and drawbacks of fintech investing for individual investors? So as soon as I ask this question, it goes through some of the thought process. So because as I told you that language models can nowadays also go through different thinking processes. So as soon as I ask this question, this agentic AI or this no code tool goes through this thought process like, okay, saying that I need to analyze the benefits and drawbacks of fintech investing for individuals. Use large language model, which is Colosseum by default, which is being selected for factual data retrieval. The user asks for benefits and drawbacks for fintech investing, which requires up-to-date factual analysis. Now you prioritize web agent for real-time data. So it fetches real-time data by using its own web agent under the hood. And then this web agent extracts information from different websites. So it has extracted this information from 17 different websites. And then based on this, it gives you some kind of an observation. And then based on this observation, it gives you the recommendation. It gives you the answer. It says, based on the information provided, here are the benefits and drawback of fintech investing for individual investors. So these are all the benefits. These are all the drawbacks and so on. Okay. So this is an example of no-code tool, which I recommend you to again explore. I'm also sharing this link in the chat. And let me share with you another no-code tool. For example, here, this is another tool called FinSage. So, I mean, this no-code tool, which I have mentioned, this is just for general, purpose tool to ask any, generic, question within, any specific, domain. But here, the next one, which I'm showing you, is another no-code tool or agentic AI tool, which is specifically for financial markets called FinSage. So, what do you do? If you just click on Start Your Financial Journey, so here, I mean, what is the objective of this no-code tool is, let's imagine you are a trader and you have a portfolio of, let's say, 100 stocks or 100 security, financial security. And as a trader, what is the kind of a decision you need to take? You need to take that, whether you should sell a particular stock in your portfolio, or you should hold a particular stock, or you should buy a particular stock, right? And to take that decision, what traders generally they do, they go through a lot of different information. Maybe they will go through a lot of different news articles that got published for that particular stock or for the particular security, or they will go through price information from the different price providers like Bloomberg or Refinitiv and so on. Or maybe they will talk to other traders in the floor. They will talk to traders in the Wall Street, or they will talk to their portfolio manager. Basically, you get the idea. They have to, consume a lot of information, a lot of data in order to make this decision. And that's exactly what we can automate using generative AI or using agentic AI, like using this kind of a no-code tool. So here, what you can do, you can first select your profile, what kind of trader you are. Let's imagine you are an aggressive trader and your trading horizon is long term and your investment style is, let's say, growth. And let's say you in your portfolio, you have NVIDIA as a stock. So maybe what you can ask is, because in the recent, in a few weeks, NVIDIA has gone through a lot of turbulence since DeepSeek got released. NVIDIA lost some $1 billion in market cap. So NVIDIA has become very volatile. Now, if NVIDIA is in your stock, in your portfolio, then you can ask a question, okay, shall I sell or hold uh, or hold NVIDIA? So as soon as you ask this question, so what it will do, it will create, it will under the hood, it will basically initiate an agent called financial metric agent. So what this financial metric agent will do, it will fetch the most recent stock price of NVIDIA, the most recent company financials of NVIDIA, the most recent income statement, the most recent balance sheet, the most recent cash flow statements, and so on, as well as earnings history. And by extracting all of those information, it will automatically generate these insights for you. Okay, what is the current price? What is the current market cap? And then it will also do the financial statement analysis. What is the current revenue, net income, gross profit? So it will do all of this analysis for you within just few seconds. And then it will give you some kind of an insights like, okay, what is the investment insights on investment application? What is the insight on growth and risk analysis? And based on that, it will give you um, some kind of a summary or conclusion that it says NVIDIA's strong financial metrics, growth prospects in AI and gaming, a solid balance sheet support for a hold recommendation. Monitor the incoming earnings report for any changes in growth expectation. So that is conclusion from one agent. But then there is another agent called news and sentiment agent. So in the news agent, what it will do, it will fetch all the recent company news for NVIDIA. And also it will fetch all the recent industry news for NVIDIA. And by extracting all of this news, it will start to generating some kind of a sentiment. And if you see this information is in real time, you see this particular news article, it says Nvidia to take $5.5 billion hit over China chip export restriction, and this news got published on April 16, which is today. So it is fetching the real time news. And then how many news it is fetching? So I have set it a limit of 50 articles. So if you see here, and out of those 50 articles, it will categorize them into which how many of them are in bullish category, somewhat bullish, somewhat neutral, and somewhat bearish and bearish. So if you see the total count, 3 plus 25 plus 21 plus 1, which is 50. Now imagine yourself going through 50 different news articles and going through understanding their sentiment, how much time consuming process it would have been for you. So now this entire thing we have automated using this no code tool called FinSage. And then based on this, it will give you some additional insights. And not only it will give you additional insight, but it will also give you some additional conclusion, saying that based on current analysis, holding NVIDIA stock is advisable. Company continues to innovate and expand in its free growth areas and so on. Okay. So now similarly, there are other agent which also gets fired up, like for example, market intelligence agent and so on. And then by using all of those individual agents at a later stage, there is a supervisor agent, and that supervisor agent will combine everything together to give you the final recommendation. And this is the final recommendation for you, which says holding NVIDIA stock aligns with your aggressive growth strategy and long-term horizon, the company's strong financial health, insider confidence, and strategic positioning in key growth areas support this recommendation. Continue monitoring market condition and company developments for any changes in growth expectation and so on. So this is an example of no-code AI tool, and that's exactly what you will learn in this course once you enroll. So again, as I said, don't worry if you're not able to follow along so far. That's totally fine, because this is just a sneak peek of what's coming up in this course. And once you enroll in this course, we'll go through in much detail on how to build this application on your own. Okay. So let me take some questions. Yeah, so there is a question that can you send the links? Yeah, I have already shared the links. Let me share the link one more time. So here I'm sharing these links with you. So this is the Agentic AI tool links. Then this is the information is beautiful, and the economic potential, and the FinSage, just this one. And if you want, so this kind of links, here you can also use. I generally share this visual learning resources on my social media as well. You can take help from there also. I mean, you will get a lot of different interesting resources from there as well. Okay, so I can see there are some question in the chat. So Hemant has a question. How do you foresee the issue of plagiarism being handled by academics given ChatGPT and OpenAI have made technology publicly? That's a great question. So there are already some models exist. I don't exactly remember. Let me see if I can find out for you. So there is already a model called Zero GPT. And Zero GPT, what they do, they already have this plagiarism checker tool already they have built. So if you click on their product, so here you see plagiarism checker. So whenever language model generates any content, it is very easy to find out whether it is generated by a model or it is generated by a human being. And this company, Zero GPT, they have actually identified, whether this output that is, which you get is actually, generated by a language model or not. So Hemant, this is the answer to your question. Maybe you can, use this particular tool and see whether. I mean, I think you should explore this particular tool and see whether it is able to actually detect plagiarism or not. But again, this is not the only tool. There are many such tools exist which can help you to solve this problem. So there is another question. What is Gen AI? Which tools are based on Gen AI and what is the benefit of Gen AI for businesses? Yeah, so Gen AI is the modern NLP or natural language processing. So whenever you want to solve any question related to text or related to language, that nowadays falls under generative AI. For example, you want to do sentiment analysis. That is an application of generative AI. Or let's say you want to do named entity recognition. Or let's say you want to do machine translation. Let's imagine you want to build a question answer system. So any use case that you might have which is related to text data, that falls under generative AI. And what is the benefit of generative AI? I already explained to you. But what I can recommend, please go through this particular blog post by McKinsey. I have already shared this link as well in the chat. And if you see in this particular tool or blog post, McKinsey have already answered this question that you asked, that what is a business value? So Gen AI has already started providing business value. That's why the name of this article is The Economic Potential of Generative AI. So I highly recommend you to go through this article to understand in more detail about different use cases of generative AI and its benefit. Okay. So there is a question from anonymous attendee is how do you know it is not fake news? Well, that's a good question. So right now I have not added any such fake news identification tool because I'm directly connecting to tools like Yahoo Finance or to tools like Polygon.io. So they make sure on their site itself that whether the news that they're sharing with their readers, whether it is fake news or not. But if even if you, let's say, if you want to build your own fake news classifier, you can build an ML classifier or AI classifier to classify whether the news that is getting fetched from the internet, whether it is fake or not. So first you fetch the news, then you take it through the classifier, and it is very easy to find out whether it is fake or not. Again, what is the approach? That is a different story altogether. We'll not have much time to cover that topic right now, but again, as I said, these are the things we will discuss in this course once you enroll. There are very different ways or ways to identify whether the news is fake or not. So once you identify, if it is fake, then you do not analyze. But if it is not fake, then you can take it forward and analyze the news for sentiment. Okay. So you can use a traditional AI approach to understand whether it is fake or not. So the next question is from Uchaya. Uchaya is asking, how can the AI agent and overall no-code AI course support my work in humanitarian setting? Our work is around distributing agriculture input, disaster monitoring, and agricultural monitoring. Will this course cover automation processes in sales and marketing? Yes. So, Ashaya, the first answer to your first question is difficult right now because without understanding what exactly you are doing. You mentioned about disaster monitoring. You mentioned about agriculture monitoring. Well, of course, there are a lot of use cases of generative AI in those areas as well. But without understanding what exactly you're working on, I'll not be able to explain in detail. But once you enroll, there are mentor learning sessions. In the mentor learning session, we can go in detail. But to answer your second question, the answer to your second question is yes. So in this course, we'll cover those automation processes in sales and marketing, automated email messages, etc. So yes, the answer to your second question is yes. Okay, so question on the course, will it cover to build? So Audi, this question will be covered by Sudhanshu in some time. So please hold on for a few more minutes, and then Sudhanshu will take you through the entire course material that what we're going to learn in this entire upcoming weeks once we enroll in this course. Okay, so now let me share my mentorship experience. So you see, as I told you at the beginning, that I've been taking mentor session at Great Learning for more than 5 years now. And what I have observed is, you see, there is always a gap on what you learn in an academic setting like this, and what you actually do in real world. And because the mentor session that happens in this course every weekend, mentors who join this course to help you understand these concepts, they give you practical understanding. They come from real, they come from a lot of industry experience. They're already working professional in the industry, and they try to bridge that gap between the industry and academia. And that is one of the unique thing which I can say about Great Learning. So you go through the course materials during the weekend, and then mentors like me, which already have a lot of practical experience in the industry, they come in the weekend, and then they try to explain those concepts again with the help of real world case studies. And that's what you will go through as well every weekend once you enroll in this course. So with that in mind, I think I have answered all the questions. Now I will hand it over to Sudhanshu to go through the overview of this entire course. Over to you, Sudhanshu.
Thank you so much, Bhaskari, for the entire detailed discussion about the NLP. And hi, everyone. My name is Sudhanshu, and I'm your program advisor from Great Learning. And I'm here to assist you with the details of the program that is No Code AI and Machine Learning offered by MIT Professional Education. I'll just share my screen. I hope you are able to see my screen. So basically giving an overview about the program, it will be a 12 weeks of a duration program where you will be getting recorded sessions by the award-winning faculty of MIT. Whereas on weekends, either Saturday or Sunday, you're going to have a live session with the industry experts who will be taking up on your questions and helping out with doubt clarifications. And in this session, you'll be having likewise minded professionals like you from same industry, same geography, and same work experience, where you will be catering 3 real-time industry projects and 15 plus case studies. These case studies are from different industries such as healthcare, finance, e-commerce. So whatever you see around the globe, you'll be able to cater each and every industry accordingly. Going ahead, you will be also granted with 8 CEUs, that states you had 80 hours of learning with MIT faculty. Starting up with the program structure, in week 1, you will be covering about the introduction to the AI landscape, whereas in week 2, you will be working upon the structured data as a data exploration. Then going ahead, you'll be working on the progression methods with the help of the regression. Week 4, it will be about the decision trees, how exactly you come along with that. Going ahead, there will be a learning break where you can have a space of breathing, where you can go ahead and capture all of the things that you learned in past 4 weeks and see if you have any further doubts and queries. Going ahead in week 6, again, you'll be working on data exploration with the unstructured data. Going ahead, you will be working on week 7 with the recommendation systems, how exactly you can recommend and work on certain strategy implementations. Then on week 8, it will be data exploration with the help of temporal data. And then again in week 9, you will be having a learning break where you will be understanding and going ahead again with the quick recap of the topics that you covered earlier. Week 10 will be prediction methods with the neural networks, then computer vision methods, how exactly you can work with the text algorithms and certain other data sets. Going ahead, then it will be a self-paced module, which will be on Chat GPT and Gemini. And going ahead, you will be focused upon certain applied data science vision portfolios where you will be future focused with the professional skills. You will be understanding about the AI machine learning methods, techniques, and the algorithms. So the most important part of the program is that no, you don't need to have a prior background in IT. So being a non-IT professional, you'll be able to cater with the 4 open source tools that you are covering in this program to understand briefly and get a hands-on exposure on how exactly you can implement AI and machine learning in your area of work with the help of data science solutions. So you'll be getting a certificate directly from the MIT, and this is how the certificate looks like. So this is all about from my side, and you might also have got a survey form with you. You can fill that survey form, and going ahead, the program is of 3 months with the catered fees of $2,850. And once you register for the program, you'll be also getting a prerequisite about mathematics and stats foundation, how exactly you can start your journey. And that is all from my side. Any questions, any queries? I'm here. here to assist you with the same. Back to Mr. Bhaskarji. Any questions for Mr. Bhaskar? Please go ahead and ask.
Sudhanshu, there is a question related to the course itself. I think if you see in the Q&A chat box, the first one from Audi.
Hi, which question? Hi, just to confirm, you mean we will be able to create our own sales automation tools like. So
No,
basically, with the
the first one from
question on
Audi.
the
So
course,
question for
will
the
it cover how to
course.
build the application you have shown you? Yes, exactly. You can work on the database and LLMs to really execute the business application that you can create and you can deploy it at any point of time, anywhere, whenever it's required. Any other questions? Any other doubts?
Sudhanshu, there are many questions in the chat.
Yeah.
Can you
Going ahead
open?
with that
So there
only.
is a question related to the charges.
Yeah, so as I stated, the total cost of the program stands $2,850. You can fill an application form and your profile will be reviewed by the management, and then going ahead, you will be getting further answers. So I'm really sorry. Basically, this course is not for the high school students. It's just specifically for the ones who are the working professionals and are a graduate. No, Adi, you don't need to pay for the tools. These are the open source tools. Yes, the data is secured with the open source tools used. I don't see any further questions, Mr. Bhaskarji. Yes, Esther, you can pursue masters in data science after you have done this program. And the cost of the program overall stands $2,850. Exactly, Carlos. Yes, this course will be a right fit for you, Francesca. Which slide are you talking about, Mr. Ricardo? Is it is the slide the Bhaskarji presented, or do you want me to show the slide that I represented? So basically, there will be you will be evaluated on the basis of the projects and the case studies as stated, and you will be based on the projects and the case studies itself. You will be getting grades on the basis of the projects that will be catered in the program. I believe this is the slide that you're talking about, Mr. Ricardo. So basically, once you fill an inquiry, Mr. Ricardo, you will be able to see the brochure coming through you. And in that also it will be in the curriculum mentioned about all the uh, propaganda, what exactly is being catered in the program with the same aspects of the portfolios that are being catered in the PPT right now. So the tools that will be covered will be Rapid Miner, Ikigai, Teachable Machine, and Nine. So what exactly I'm doing is I am sharing the brochure with you right now over in the chat. You can save the brochure as it will be a link, and you can see the tools that are being covered over there. I have shared the program brochure. Mr. Bhaskar, I believe this question is for you, that how exactly they can value the skill in as a supply chain practitioner.
Yes. So first of all, please put your questions in the Q&A box, and Sudhanshu, you should also pick questions from Q&A box and not from chat box. But
Actually,
yeah, hmm, let
no,
me
please go
answer
ahead.
this question. For supply chain point of view, first of all, you need to understand what is your use case. Okay. So for example, from supply chain point of view, if I have to take any example from financial domain, let's say in financial domain, every company has some suppliers, and let's say for example, I think few years back, there was a ship, Evergreen, which got stuck in the Suez Canal, and because it got stuck, it impacted the entire supply chain network, and because it impacted the supply chain network, it also impacted the stock markets, right? Or maybe if I have to give another example, I think few months back, there was this outage by code strike, and because of this outage by code strike, it impacted all the Microsoft servers, right? And because of which it impacted the entire world. So that is again a network effect. So supply chain, whenever you see any supply chain domain, you see this network impact. And how do you find out how this risk, if let's say in your supply chain network, if one entity goes down, then how this will impact the entire network. So using AI, you can easily identify the propagation of those risks in your supply chain network. So if you break your supply chain by one entity, how that risk might propagate through that particular network. So those kind of things. This is what I can I can understand. How we can how can you what can you solve using AI. But apart from this, you need to identify what other use cases might be, and then you can think of okay, this is a use case, whether it can be useful or it can be solved by AI or not. So identifying use case is very important. Okay, over to you, Sudhanshu.
So basically, Bhaskari, there is one more question in the Q&A that Ankita did put up regarding the banking organization.
Yeah. So how can banking organization decide to take an off-the-shelf, ready-to-use model for themselves rather than fine-tuning a language model? So Ankita, I think your question is more related to data privacy, because in banking domain the data is very sensitive or private. So in that case, what I just mentioned to you, you can use this kind of a tool like iGenius. Let me share this link again in the chat box. Ankita, I have shared another link in the chat box. So this is what is being used by many different banks. So this makes sure, I mean, this particular product called Crystal, they have their own data center, and which is dedicated to the individual, individual company or individual, bank, and so that your entire, data remains within your network and it doesn't go over in the internet to another server. So for banking related use cases, you can use this kind of a tool which I shared in the chat box. Over to you, Sudhanshu.
So everything is basically done from my end. So you have the feedback
So there are
from.
questions related to brochure link. There are questions
I
related
have shared
to
the brochure link in the
you
chat
have
itself.
shared. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. And will the recording be shared? Yes, the recording will be shared after the session is over. And I think yes, I think
Uh,
we have answered all the questions, because somebody mentioned that we have not answered those questions. That's why I'm asking,
I have
clarifying.
shared the brochure link again in the chat box.
Okay, great, fine.
So yeah, this is all from my side. I believe you all did got a very fruitful information. And if in case you have any queries, any questions, you can contact your dedicated program advisors and they'll be there to assist you out with the program brochure.
Sudhanshu, I think the issue is the link that you shared to host and panelist.
Oh,
You
I'm
should
really
share to
sorry.
everyone. That's why,
Yes,
I can
sorry,
see
so sorry.
message from
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. I believe now the brochure link is being shared with everyone. Really sorry for that. And for the future concerns, if you have any queries, any doubts, you can contact your program advisors and they'll be happy to assist you with each and everything that you have on your hands. Thank you so much for giving your time. Take care.